Are you ready, Corey? We're ready to go. It's 5 o'clock and we are ready to go with tonight's Weyburn City Council here this day. The first thing I would like to have, and this is a regular council, Monday, April 27th, 2020, via Zoom. I need a motion by council member to allow for this meeting to be done by electronic means. Do I have a motion, please?
I'm prepared to make a motion that City Council suspends the rules of order as set out in the City of Weyburn Council Procedure Bylaw to allow for the City Council and City Administration to participate in the regular meeting of City Council this 27th day of April 2020.
Councillor Bailey, I will second that motion.
Call the question. All in favor? Councillor Mickle?
Yes.
Councillor Richards?
Yes.
Councillor Wheeler?
Yes.
Councillor Van Betju?
Yes.
Councillor Bailey?
Yes.
Councillor Chessel?
Yes.
It is passed unanimously. Moving forward, can I have the approval of the minutes of the regular council meeting and strategic planning priorities meeting held April 14th, 2020. And just before we do that, although you had a roll call there, I'll just simply call a roll call again here to make sure that who is all present here tonight. We have Councillor Van Betju to say present.
Present.
Councillor Wheeler.
Present.
Councillor Bailey.
Present.
Councillor Richards.
Present.
Councillor Chessel.
Present.
Councillor Mickle.
Present.
We have Clerk Richter. Is she on? We have Andrew Crow, say present. And we have Laura Missal. We have Jen Wilkinson with engineering present. We have City Administrator Matthew Warren present. That is the roll. Going forward, then, do I have a motion to approve the minutes of the regular council meeting, the strategic planning and priorities meeting held April 14th, 2020?
Yes, Your Worship, this is Councillor Van Betju. I'd like to make a motion that the minutes of the regular council meeting and the strategic planning and priority meeting held April 14th, 2020 be approved.
Do I have a seconder, please?
This is Councillor Richards. I'll second that.
Going through the roll. All in favor, Councillor Van Betju?
Yes.
Councillor Wheeler?
Yes.
Councillor Bailey?
Yes.
Councillor Richards?
Yes.
Councillor Mickle?
Yes.
Mayor Roy? Yes. Approved unanimously. Any additions to the agendas? City Administrator Warren, any addition?
No, Your Worship, no additions tonight from administration.
Councilors? Hearing none, we move forward. Public hearings and notices, there is none. There is a delegation or and proclamation, and it is the day of mourning that is going to be held. I will read it here. If you would, please. Every year, more than 1,000 Canadian workers are killed on the job. And whereas thousands more are permanently disabled, hundreds of thousands are injured. And whereas thousands of others die from cancer, lung disease, and other ailments caused by exposure to toxic substances at their workplaces. And whereas April 28th of each year has been chosen by the Canadian Labour Congress as a day of mourning with these victims of workplace accidents and diseases. A day to remember the maximum sacrifice they've been forced to make in order to earn a living. A day to renew approaches to governments for tougher occupational health and safety standards to more effective compensation. And a day to rededicate ourselves to the goal of making Canada's workplaces safer. And whereas April 28th was proclaimed a day of mourning by an act of Parliament on February 1st, 1991, I, Marcel Roy, Mayor of the City of Weyburn, do hereby proclaim April 28th as the annual day of mourning in recognition of the workers killed, injured, or disabled on the job. And so goes the proclamation. This, it was, just to say a little comment, it was quite interesting. I was relating to Mr. Warren today, reading one book here just as of late, that it wasn't until about 1950, 1960 that the word actually teenager came into use. Before then, right into the 40s, child labor was used all the way through. Early in the 1900s, kids, as soon as they were 10 years old, they were able to work in factories, standing on boxes, were working. And there was a tremendous amount of differences from now to what it was way back in the 1900s and into the 1800s. So we have a lot to be thankful, and we should remember this day, April 28th, always. Moving forward, reports of standing committees. Police Commission, Councillor Van Betju, would you please deliver the report?
Thank you, Your Worship. A regular meeting of the Weyburn Police Commission held by teleconference at 4 p.m. Tuesday, April 21st, 2020. A motion to allow for meeting by electronic means was put forward and passed unanimously. There are no additions to the agenda and no new correspondence. Mayor's report in March 2020 compared to March 2019, crimes against person increased from 5 in 2019 to 12 in 2020. Property crimes up from 23 to 53. Drug offenses up from 1 to 4. Criminal code traffic violations decreased from 72 to 48. And calls for service have gone down from 468 to 448. The board received the accounts payable report for March 2020. The board also received the bylaw officer CSO report for March 2020. Councillor Van Betju raised an issue with bylaw enforcement regarding communication between the bylaw officer and the City of Weyburn, and suggested that reporting must be provided to the city on bylaw enforcement, as citizens often contact the city in regard to bylaw complaints and issues. Acting Chief Stafford provided the board with a budget analysis report for the first quarter. The board received a report from the acting chief showing a 2019 budget overage of $204,460. There's then a motion to move in camera, and then also a motion to move out of camera. After out of camera, there are inquiries and announcements. The board was advised that newly hired Police Chief Jamie Blunden would begin work on May 4th, 2020. The swearing-in ceremony will be a small private event due to COVID-19 pandemic rules around gatherings and social distancing. Then once the emergency measure laws are lifted, a public event will be held for the public to meet the new chief. Meeting was adjourned.
The report will be noted and filed. Consent agenda. Accounts receivable report, please. And activity report and the accounts receivable report first. Laura Missel.
Your
Do you
worship,
want these read in at all?
don't we generally just approve these as presented?
Okay, I just saw that they had a fire department report. I didn't know if they wanted that read in or not. So, all right, just do I have a motion to have these received, please?
Yes, your worship. This is Councillor Chessel. I'll move that all items on the consent agenda be accepted as presented.
This is Councillor Wheeler. I'd second that motion.
All those in favor, Councillor Van Betju,
Yes.
Councillor Wheeler,
Yes.
Councillor Bailey,
Yes.
Councillor Richards,
Yes.
Counselor Chessel,
Yes.
Counselor Mickle,
Yes.
Mayor Roy, yes. Voted unanimously. Now the motions. Accounts payable, please.
This is Counselor Bailey. I'd like to move that the purchases in the amount of $379,641.52 from April 10th to April 22nd to 2020 be approved. Purchases include quick pays in the amount of $364,628.58, direct withdrawals in the amount of $14,889.57, debit card transactions in the amount of $123.37.
This is Counselor Mickle, and I second that motion.
Discussion? Hearing none. Counselor Van Betchu, how do you vote?
Yes.
Counselor Wheeler,
Yes.
Counselor Bailey,
Yes.
Counselor Richards,
Yes.
Counselor Chessel,
Yes.
Counselor Mickle,
Yes.
Mayor Roy, yes. Motion is passed unanimously. City Hall roof repair. Do you wish to speak to this? First off, do you want to speak to this and then make a motion, Matthew or Andrew?
Yeah, Director of Leisure Services, Andrew Crow. Can you guys hear me now? Sorry, I was having some problems during roll call. So
Well, we got you.
technical issues. So yeah, so what you see before you is some information on the City Hall re-roofing project that we need to do. The City Hall roof section on the northwest side of the building has failed, and we've seen a few times now this year where elements from the outdoors are entering the building. We've had lots of water getting through the structure due to holes and different leaks on the roof in that area. So with this going on, we released a request for tender to the industry, and we received 3 estimates from different companies. One from Seal It Up Roofing for a ballast roof system for $39,760 with 15-year warranty. One from Clark Roofing for $50,105. And one from Flynn Canada for $75,106. The city of Weyburn received these 3 estimates, and there's a spread of just over $35,000 between the low and the high bid. Seal It Up Roofing has suggested a ballast roof system, which is the same as what we already have on the roof itself. Seal It Up Roofing suggested, Clark provided an estimate using a conventional heat-applied torch-on roofing system, and that style is also installed on several of our facilities around the city. And Flynn Canada submitted the high bid. They suggest using a Sopraline cold-applied top cap product. This estimate also included removing the rooftop unit, which is something we feel we need to do to fix the roof properly. We seem to have a lot of moisture and water leaking in through that area. So that is why their bid was a little bit higher. They're doing a more thorough job or they're proposing a more thorough job done to the roof system. So through visual inspections that we've had both during the leak events and after them, we believe that the majority of the water is entering through the roof unit location, as I mentioned earlier. Therefore, we would recommend that the city go with the bid from Flynn Canada in the amount of $75,106 plus the associated taxes. We just feel that this is the only route that we're going to be able to go and actually fix the problem properly without seeing any further damages caused.
Before any discussion, do I have a motion, please?
Your worship, it's Councilor Richards. I'll make a motion that the tender of Flynn Canada for the City Hall roof replacement in the amount of $75,106 plus tax be accepted.
Do you have a second?
This is Counselor Van Betch. I will second that motion.
Discussion?
Counselor Bailey here for a question for Andrew, please.
Go ahead.
Andrew, with doing this, there's got to be some ceiling damage in there, in that area. That is not included in this. Is there drywall insulation and stuff that has to be done once this is fixed on the outside? Is there work to do on the inside then, Andrew?
So we've been lucky, I mean, there is some work to do on the inside of the building where we have some water staining, and some damages. Most of the areas that we've seen our damages were roofing tiles and other structures that have already been either taken down by the water or taken down internally by us. There are some other areas that we'll need to look at once this is completed for sure, just to make sure that we're out of the woods and everything's taken care of.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Richards?
Thanks, Your Worship. It's Councillor Richards. Director Crow, have you any experience with the Sopraline roofing at all? Are you confident with the product? And I've never heard of it, not that I probably should have heard of it, but just you comfortable with that product and have any experience with it?
I personally don't have experience with it, but our facilities manager has looked into all the products and he's very confident in what they're providing in their quote.
Good, thank you.
Further discussion? Hearing none, I'll go forward with the call to question. All those in favor of this motion? Councillor Van Betju?
Yes.
Councillor Wheeler?
Yes.
Councillor Bailey?
Yes.
Councillor Richards?
Yes.
Councillor Chessel?
Yes.
Councillor Mickle?
yes,
Mayor Roy? Yes. Passed unanimously. Very good. Next item on the agenda. Bylaw 2020-3417, amend tax charges bylaw. City Administrator or Laura, or who's going to speak to this? Or do we just make a motion? We talked about this before, so let's just have a motion. Do you have a motion, please?
Your Worship, this is Councillor Wheeler. I'd like to make a motion that bylaw 2020-3417 to amend the tax charges bylaw 2012-3217 for the purpose of deferring 2020 property municipalities to November 1st, 2020. Be read a first time.
Do you have a second?
Your Worship, Councillor Chessel here. I'll second that.
Discussion?
So I can speak to it.
Okay.
This has to do with what we talked about at last council, and it's just deferring the interest on taxes, not saying they aren't due by July 31st, but just deferring interest to October 31st to give a little relief for COVID.
So it's till October 31st, and so the 1st of November is when interest will start, correct?
Yep, that's correct.
Okay. Any discussion, council? Hearing none. Councillor Van Betju, how do you vote on first reading?
Yes.
Councillor Wheeler,
Yes.
Councillor Bailey,
Yes.
Councillor Richards,
Yes.
Councillor Chessel,
Yes.
Councillor Mickle,
yes,
Mayor Roy, yes. Do you have a second motion for a second reading?
Your Worship, this is Councillor Wheeler. I'd like to make a motion that bylaw 2020-3417 to amend tax charges bylaw 2012-3217 be read a second time.
Do you have a second, please?
Your Worship, it's Councillor Chessel. I'll second that.
Discussion? Hearing none. Do I have how do you vote? Call the question. How do you vote? Councillor Van Betju?
Yes.
Councillor Wheeler?
Yes.
Councillor Bailey?
Yes.
Councillor Richards?
Yes.
Councillor Chessel?
Yes.
Counselor Mickle,
Yes.
Mayor Roy, yes.
Your worship, this is Councillor Wheeler. I'd like to make a motion that bylaw 2020-3417 to amend tax charges bylaw 2012-3217 be given 3 readings at this meeting.
Do I have a second?
Your worship, it's Councilor Chessel. I'll second that.
Counselor Van Betchu, how do you vote?
Yes.
Counselor Wheeler,
Yes.
Counselor Bailey,
Yes.
Counselor Richards,
Yes.
Counselor Chessel,
Yes.
Counselor Mickle,
Yes.
Mayor Roy, yes. Passed unanimously to allow a third reading. Go ahead.
Your worship, this is Councillor Wheeler. I'd like to make a motion that bylaw 2020-3417 to amend the tax charges bylaw 2012-3217 for the purpose of deferring 2020 property tax penalties to November 1st, 2020 be read a third time and passed.
Counselor Van Betchu, how do you vote?
Your worship, Councilor Chessel. I'll second that.
Oh, sorry. Yes. Counselor Van Betchu, how do you vote?
Yes.
Counselor Wheeler,
Yes.
Counselor Bailey,
Yes.
Counselor Richards,
Yes.
Counselor Chessel,
Yes.
Counselor Mickle,
Yes.
Mayor Roy, yes. The bylaw is passed unanimously. Unfinished business. The refuse truck tender, the table motion. Moved by Councilor Bailey and second by Councilor Chessel that the bid of Westvac Industrial for the supply of a 2021 Freightliner M2-106 and include one arm cycle counter, the amount of 305,000 or 305, and auxiliary arm control in the amount of 679 be used as a refuse collecting vehicle in the amount of $307,966.04 without trade be accepted. We're bringing this motion back to council. Discussion.
Councillor Bailey here, your worship.
Yes.
Coincidentally, when my refuge was picked up here last week, up and down the street came our secondary truck. And as I watched it operated very efficiently and everything, so it's running good. As we've heard our discussion on this, that the chassis and that is in good condition, and that we have said that we could use it for a secondary truck for gravel or whatever for the city. My thought when I seen this was that I'm struggling with spending $307,000 right now in our time of tough slugging. This truck, as we've been told, basically gets used after each holiday for 1 or 2 days each month. So we only have, like a 1 or 2 days each month. My first question is, have we looked into if the apparatus that loads the garbage cans or empties the garbage cans, I should say, if that's what's the problem with this truck, as the chassis being good, have we looked into what that costs versus spending $300,000 plus?
Mr. Warren?
Yes, Your Worship. We can go into a little further information as requested by Councillor Bailey and provide additional information to council as we move forward.
I would like to follow up with that, Manager Warren. There's a whole lot of things in play, and if we only get 5 years out of these trucks, and I think that's what our second one or our main truck is now, is 4 or 5 years old. Am I correct on that? That we got another year or two, and then we're going to have 2 new trucks. I just think the minimal amount of use that we have on there, if we looked into it and it wasn't an overbearing cost, and I don't know what that is, if that mechanism is what is wore out in this piece of equipment, then I would like to see that brought to council before we spend this $300,000. I just, it went up and down the street slick as the new one did. And, I just, golly gee, we could, we are $80 some thousand dollars over budget on this already, that even if we didn't have to put anything into it for another year, then at least we could put more money into the budget instead of taking out of reserves. So I got 3 or 4 different things there, Matthew, that I have concerns about.
Yeah, very good. I appreciate the providing that to administration for us to look into further. A little background, the machine's 10 years old, so we're not replacing the machines after 5 years. The machines are 10 years old. Is that
okay? I didn't.
Yeah. Yeah, sorry about that. Yes, the change is after every 10 years. It's within our life cycle planning for our fleet.
That makes the cost a little different than what I kind of had in my mind. So, replacement costs. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank
Your
you.
Worship, can I make a comment?
Go ahead, Mr. Mickle.
This is Councillor Mickle. I understand where Councillor Bailey's coming from. However, the garbage is still going to be there no matter what conditions we're in with this COVID-19. My concern is that if in fact that truck that you saw happens to break down next week, we have third party come in, we got all the stats, what's that cost the city of Weyburn, and the pressure on the taxpayers to pay that bill. I don't think we can delay this any further. We know it takes quite a while to get this truck. We've done it in the past. This conversation has happened, trust me, over the last 20 years, it's come up a few times, and it's always been good dialogue, and I appreciate the comments. However, we still have to look after our citizens. And we can't, I understand the question. However, we have to look after the garbage that's going to be out there, and I don't think we can delay this any longer. I think this has to happen tonight.
Your Worship, I'd like
Yes,
to
please.
respond to Councillor Mickle, please.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, Councillor Mickle, I appreciate your comment, and I know we have to keep our equipment in working condition. My basis on this, if we came back and found that $25,000 or $30,000 replaced what the city is telling us, the people that operate this are telling us is getting wore out. If it's only a $25,000 or $30,000 ticket to put into that, and we get another 3 or 4 years service out of this piece of equipment, that's where I'm directing on that. If it's more, maybe more than that, then it becomes not feasible to do it. But if it was that loading arm and everything, that's all that we're looking at to replace that we're having problems with, and it was $25,000 or $30,000, that's where I'm getting at, where maybe at the right time. We're not gonna, if we could find out how long it would take to get that, if we can get it, I'd just like to dig deeper, that's all.
Your Worship, it's Councillor Van Betju.
Go ahead.
I think we had requested information from administration. They haven't maybe got it all together, but I would suggest we table this for one more meeting.
Would you like to make that motion, Mr. Van Beek?
Yes, I'll make that motion. Yes, that we table this till the next meeting, which is May 11th.
And Councillor Bailey, I would second that.
Discussion? Call the question then. All in favor of tabling until the next meeting to see about information? Councillor Van Betju,
Yes.
Councillor Wheeler,
Yes.
Councillor Bailey,
Yes.
Councillor Richards,
Yes.
Councillor Chessel,
Yes.
Councillor Mickle,
No,
Mayor Roy, no. But it is passed, 5 votes for, 2 against, so recorded. It'll be tabled till May 11th meeting. And administration, it can be so directed to bring us back more information about the costings and any information, say to council members that you request, bring it to as soon as possible to the administration so that we can get this motion passed or defeated one way or the other next meeting.
Your Worship,
Yes.
Councillor Bailey here. Yeah, and in directing this to Matthew, I would suggest that, you know, if he finds out exactly what, we just been told that it breaks down and it's not operational, so more direction in what's breaking down. And if it is just the loading arm and that, then look into what that would cost to replace it. I think that's my main concern.
Okay. Any
Thank
further direction to council, you can contact Manager Warren. There's no new business. We now then move to inquiries and announcements. I'll start off with Mr. Chessel. You had an announcement?
Yeah, thank you, Worship. Last week, Barb Helfrich had posted on Facebook saying, hey, we always have or there's this National Takeout Day, so why don't we have a Weyburn gift card day and, you know, support our local economy right now. So it kind of took me a couple days, but I decided to take the initiative and I built a website where businesses can sign up for free, cost them nothing. They basically let me know how they can sell gift cards. What I'm doing is I'm posting all that information with their logo, their websites, everything on there. And then people or customers can go to this website, see how they can purchase a gift card from them. And I've received great support from Credit Union, MMP, Golden West, Review, City of Weyburn, RM of Weyburn, Chamber of Commerce, and waiting to hear from more. So to help with supporting the project, so we're going to do a Weyburn gift card days from Monday, May 11th through Friday, May 15th. Doesn't mean you still can't buy gift cards anywhere prior. The information will be up basically starting tonight. So still want to buy your mother that gift card, that option will be there, but we're really going to make the push that week. And yeah, just overall, this is a great way to shop, eat, and enjoy the Weyburn and surrounding area businesses. The website is officially up now and it's nice and simple. It's just weyburngiftcarddays.com. So, and yeah, more information to follow and it'll be updated daily.
Very good. I see that there's Supply Me Weyburn sort of thing. I don't know who started that, but there's another one. Have you seen that one, Mr. Chessel?
Yes, that is done by, I guess, Golden West, Discover Weyburn. Yeah.
Oh, so there's another one. So,
and yeah, it's a free site that they're providing right now.
Very good. Mr. Mickle?
Yep, thank you, Your Worship. Councillor Mickle, I have two questions, Your Worship. One's the engineering, Jen. Jen, could you tell the citizens of Weyburn what the plan is to have our lines painted in the city for 2020?
Yes, Director of Engineering Wilkinson speaking. Can everybody hear me?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, we still are planning to do line painting within the city. Normally we do a request for tender in both spring and fall. We're currently evaluating that, but we are getting the tender prepared for bids, and we still do plan on doing line painting this year.
Thanks, Jen. The other question, Your Worship, is to Andrew Crow. Andrew, a couple of weeks ago, there was media brought a question for us about the 60 garden plots in Signal Hill area there. Is there any idea or any plan of attack where people can actually go out there and put a garden in?
Yeah, so that's something that we've looked at over the last couple of weeks of putting a plan together in place for it. So we are going to be opening the community garden space. We're lucky out there with our 60 plots. They're spaced adequately apart so that people are able to access their garden plots without being at risk of COVID-19 or spreading COVID-19. There will be more information and guidelines as far as what's required from the user groups or the users, on our website. That'll be going up shortly.
Thanks so much, Andrew.
Megan, I see we have Megan Ebel has joined us at council here. She's our youth mayor under the direction and guidance of Mr. Richards. Both the council, youth council is very well appreciated by the council. And we also appreciate your work that you're doing with it. Mr. Richards and Danette. We appreciate that greatly. Megan, what do you have for us here?
The Youth Council would like to make an announcement. And so it's business for us as usual with, as the Weyburn Youth Council, and we continue with our monthly meetings online. As youth leaders in the community, the Youth Council would like to share a message to engage and inspire Weyburn's youth during this time of COVID-19. We know that the warm weather is upon us and it is tempting to want to be with our friends all day long. For many, it is our senior year of high school and the last time to be with each other for a while. But it is important that we all follow the social distancing guidelines so that we can be back to normal sooner. It is hard for us as youth not to be tempted to spend time with our friends daily, but we have to think about those who cannot withstand the virus. We want to stay apart now so that when we gather again, everyone is there. With this, we are also very lucky to be living in the world of technology that keeps us connected with our friends while staying physically apart. The Weyburn Youth Council would like to thank everyone in the community who is doing their part to help others. Thank you to all the first responders, health workers, local grocery store and essential services workers, childcare workers, and people who have volunteered to get supplies for those who are unable to risk the chance of getting sick. We would also like to thank the youth in the community for following all the regulations. As we know, this is not a normal circumstance, as usually you can communicate with your friends face to face through school. And we also know that this is a hard time for everyone and it affects their mental health as youth, as we can't do as much as we're used to. Stay connected, healthy, and safe as this will all pass. We hope to see everyone in the community soon from the Weyburn Youth Council.
Thank you, Megan. Appreciate that comments. Any comments, councillors? Mr. Richards?
No, just a big high five to Youth Council because they're always working hard, and I appreciate getting to hang out with them from time to time.
Yes, and in one of our past youth, I just want to bring that up. One of our past youth counselors reached out to Mr. Richards and myself asking for reference. Her name again, Mr. Richards. What was her name again?
Luis Pascual.
Yeah, Melise Pascual. And it's very nice to see. She was asked both Jeff Richards and I to as reference because she is applying for the Canadian Navy as a naval reserve. So that was really good to see. And she was came in what second or third in the Prime Minister's Award too. She's well recognized. And this is all a part of the Youth Council. All you people in the Youth Council, very good leadership through the city. We're very proud of you. Thank you. Any further announcements or inquiries? There are no notice of motions. So with that, we're going to call an adjournment. Thank you very much. And at this time, now that we are on, we have notice of adjournment, we're going to go off live YouTube, if you would, please.